specialist installers and assemblers of structural insulated panels, we'd like to share with you some facts about constructing with this innovative and highly effective building product. Structural insulated panels, often termed SIPs, are high-performing, thermally efficient composite panels. So what do they comprise of? Well, SIPs are effectively a sandwich, with an insulating layer between two outer layers of approved structural board. We advocate panels that comprise specifically of a layer of insulating expanded polystyrene foam between two layers of structural OSB, short for oriented strand board. In a wall, the structural insulated panel replaces the three separate elements of traditional frame construction, namely the framework, the plywood bracing, and insulation batts. However, it also exceeds the performance of traditional frame construction in terms of superior insulation, strength, durability, increased air tightness, and the possibility of a quicker installation time. So over the next two videos, we will look at these advantages and others in more detail. So to start, SIPs are very strong. They are effectively braced on both sides, reducing the need for additional bracing and improving intrinsic strength. In fact, the structural strength of these panels, when manufactured and installed correctly, can withstand high wind loading and seismic forces. Technically, SIPs are designed to resist not only axial loads, but also shear and out-of-plane flexural loads, far greater than the equivalent conventional studded framework. Axial loads are compressive loads, applied to the top of the panel, trying to squash the panel and reduce its height. Shear loads, when referring to panels, are those applied in plane to the edges. Simply put, a shear load applied at the top of a panel would try to distort a square panel into a rhombus shape. An out-of-plane flexural load is a force perpendicular or across the panel, trying to bend the panel between supports. SIPs are acceptable to use as shear walls in all seismic design categories, as they are able to counter the effect of the lateral load on a structure, typically as a result of high wind loads and earthquakes. The bracing capacity of structural insulated panels is high. Performance report their panels were tested, and in terms of bracing units, perform far better than concrete. You may have experienced typical creaking and settling over time in new homes built with traditional framing. With SIPs houses there is no movement, as the walls are so well braced. They are also nailed and bonded at the joints. Due to this lack of movement in a SIP house, plus no evidence of post-build degradation, when seismic events do occur, the house is in prime condition to stand up to those forces, unlike other structures that do degrade over time. During the Kobe earthquakes in Japan in the 1980s and 1995, SIPs buildings were some of the few left standing. During earthquakes, SIPs panels also have a unique ability to take the shock out of the movement by allowing some non-permanent flex in the structure. Engineers call this ductility. Although small, it's enough to significantly reduce the impact of a multi-directional earthquake. Real-life evidence from the USA and Japan provides examples of how SIPs, made with OSB poured and expanded polystyrene, perform in earthquakes. Indeed, the Kaikoura earthquake in 2016 also provided a more localised example of how well SIPs withstand such forces. A designer with experience in SIPs would have a better understanding of its abilities, tolerances and uses. And as in all new builds, a structural engineer would still determine if secondary structural systems are required based on the design loads. A builder experienced in SIPs construction will also ensure SIPs are installed accurately so as to ensure they perform as intended. The accuracy of the measurements, levels and setups are essential, so ensure your builder knows what he's doing. In my next video, we will cover more about the insulating properties of SIPs, as well as some other considerations. But in the meantime, grab our free guide at the link below.